Whiplash! Whiplash, come here immediately.
Yes, Skeletor.
Right, shall we perform an extended whimsical intro to establish the tone of the show and provide something of a rolling start?
We don't really have enough time, Skeletor.
What? Why?
Well, we've had a lot of questions again, so we should probably make a start.
Whiplash, why do people keep asking me stuff?
Because you ask them to, Skeletor. It's the essential premise of the show. Also, people like you.
No, don't be silly, Whiplash. Nobody likes me. That's the point. What a stupid thing to say.
Sorry, Skeletor. Would you like to split the questions over 2 episodes again?
No! Let's try doing them all today and see how well the video is received.
Okay. Do you think people will watch the whole episode until the end, Skeletor?
Oh, I doubt it, Whiplash. Only loyal and dedicated Skele-Fans will make it to the end. Everyone else will leave after 4 minutes.
But then they will miss loads of good stuff, Skeletor.
Yes, they will, the fools. And I don't know what to do about it. Anyway, let's crack on. Get to your station.
Yes, Skeletor.
Greetings! I am Skeletor, and welcome to SkeleTalk, the series where I answer your questions. Shh, it's the internet's best kept secret. Okay, we start the episode with a question from new contributor Thompson Hereford Farm, who asks, why don't you bone up and appear as the vintage version of yourself instead of a crappy Super 7 version? A great question. I think I shall have to disrupt the format of the show and ask Monkeyboy to help answer this one. Hold on. Monkeyboy! Monkeyboy!
What do you want, Skeletor?
I need you to come here immediately and break the fourth wall and explain the reasoning behind one of the show's key creative decisions.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Right, I'm here, Skeletor.
Right, read the question on the screen and answer it to the best of your ability.
Okay. Right. Okay. So that's a very good question. It's quite a long answer. Is that all right, Skeletor?
Yes, and maybe viewers will find it interesting. How the fuck do I know?
Right. Okay. So let's bring in a vintage Skeletor to help me explain. Okay. So firstly, I decided that the Super 7 face sculpt sort of offered a greater flexibility in terms of the range of personality I would need. I find this version to be slightly more expressive and engaging, and it lends itself more easily to a wider set of emotions, given that it's obviously just a static face sculpt. I feel that this vintage version lacks the same life and personality somehow. I mean, there's not much in it, but you know, I do think that the Super 7 version is just a little bit more versatile. Also, the colours of this Super 7 version are more vibrant, and the figure generally presents as more cheerful and visually engaging. This version is also the most similar to the Skeletor we know from the cartoon. And in addition, this version works better with my lighting setup and doesn't confuse my camera's autofocus quite as much as the vintage one does. This one doesn't always act as you would expect it to on camera. If there's stuff going on, it sometimes doesn't recognise this as a face quite as easily as this one. And there are some sort of aesthetic reasons why this version was chosen. In terms of practicality, the Super 7 version is much easier to hold and manipulate. The construction of the vintage version with the rubber leg bands makes the figure quite wobbly and sort of unpredictable, particularly when held by one leg, and especially given the frequent tremors I experience in my hands. This figure doesn't always behave as I want it to. It's not so bad holding it by both legs, but that's not always possible. And the single leg approach, as you can see, he is very wobbly, whereas this guy is a much more stable figure. Sort of any movements or ambulation I try to apply to the figure translates more accurately through the Super 7 version because of the hip construction. The vintage version just isn't reliable in this regard, and the orientation of the hips can sometimes shift rather unhelpfully in the middle of a shot. And because I'm usually reading from a script rather than looking at the screen, I need to know that the figure isn't misbehaving or doing its own thing. So although I love the vintage figure, It's the Super 7 version that offers a better performance and provides better results, and being the easier one to work with. So yeah, thanks for the question. Hopefully that gives you a peek behind the curtain.
Monkey Boy, that answer was long, boring, and not even remotely amusing.
Right, well, what do you want from me, Skeletor?
I want you to get out of my sight before I beat you.
Right, see you later, Skeletor.
Right, get out. Right. So, thanks for the question, THF, and welcome to the channel. Next, we have a question from Soda Cauldron, which we have managed to accidentally miss for 2 weeks. Soda asks, egg and spam, egg, bacon, sausage and spam, or spam, egg, sausage and spam? I think that just egg and spam would be sufficient, but only if served in a proper restaurant, and if I had been lowered into my seat by a simple system of wire cable rigging. I will not eat spam following an orthodox building entry. I would also consider being jettisoned from beneath a trapdoor in the dining area. Thanks, Soda. Mimi Rogers comes barreling out of the cave of inspiration, fully laden with the astonishing, what favourite drinks? Coffee, any juice except cranberry, Dr. Pepper, Cherry Coke or Pepsi, Coors Light, and the tears of disillusioned children. Thanks, Mimi. Jason Raphael Murdoch is wondering, why does Evil Lynn's 80s action figure have the same jaundiced skin tone as Marge Simpson? Well, Evil Lynn actually did it first, and the colour was chosen by Mattel to make her seem magical and powerful. Jason also requests that Whiplash shouts Wendys at Monkeyboy. Okay, Whiplash, come here immediately.
Yes, Skeletor.
Right, I want you to call Monkeyboy and shout Wendys at him.
Yes, Skeletor. A monkey boy. Monkey boy.
What do you want, Whiplash?
Wendys.
Sorry, what?
Wendys.
Did you just shout Wendys at me?
What should I say, Skeletor?
Say yes.
Yes, monkey boy.
Right, did Skeletor ask you to do that?
Say no.
No.
Okay, is Skeletor with you at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, fuck off, Skeletor.
Right, thanks, Jason. Weapon Zero asks if I can get the Butterfly Farm in trouble for breaking antitrust laws and operating a monopoly. No, sadly not. On Eternia, the monopolization of public insect exhibition is encouraged, and there appears to be no logic behind this. Believe me, I'm as frustrated by my response as you are. Thanks, Weapon. The Fly Attractor was angered by my response to his question last week and has taken to the bottle, which seems reasonable. He also asks, why is the room spining? Well, sir, the room is not spining. You, my friend, are drunk. Pour me a double of whatever you're having, and I'll come over after the show. I will bring Buckaroo and Nibbles. Thanks, Fly. K-Dog Broadcasting has straightforward questions. He writes, what is your favourite Bond movie? Who is the best villain therein? And why? Well, I do like the Daniel Craig version of Casino Royale, but I would probably have to say Live and Let Die is my favourite, as it features my favourite Bond villain, Jaws, as well as the memorable Baron Samedi. Thanks, K-Dog. Retro Toy Guy Sai asks, Hanks, Hardy, or Cruz? Which Tom would you kidnap and force at gunpoint to make you a cheese and ham toasty? Well, Cruz can only carry out tasks while hanging precariously from tall buildings, and I do not wish to do that. As for Hanks and Hardy, I think they would each have a different approach, but similar results. I suppose I would choose Hardy, because he could do it with a quiet intensity that might lead to a slightly more intimidating sandwich. Thanks for the question. HP Bifter writes, after drinking 3 bottles of Crystal Head vodka, you fancy practicing root canal surgery, utilizing a brick wall, a Ferrari, a long run-up, and a concrete block on the accelerator. Which TV presenter do you stand in front of the wall? Easy. David Dickinson. I can't stand that orange c***. Thanks, Bifter. Ben Studley would like me to answer a question that he has not yet asked. Of course, Ben. I would be happy to. Here we go. Gibbons of the family Hylobatidae are split into 4 extant genera, with a total of 20 species. They are considered one of the lesser apes, and, unlike most of the great apes, frequently form long-term pair bonds. They do not have a tail, and they are the fastest tree-dwelling mammal. And no, you're unlikely to find one that has a Tinder profile. Thanks, Ben. I hope that helps. Tree Theodore writes, describe how the band Circle Takes the Square is similar to your channel as it relates to experimentation and reverence of mystery. Well, Tree, aside from the commonalities you have identified, the band and this show both feature beautiful moments of genius, surrounded by a disproportionate amount of confusion and nonsense. Prolonged exposure to this band or my channel may cause headaches, nausea, and non-specific but acute agitation. In terms of experimentation, the band are next level, and I cannot claim to have a similar approach. I have on occasion been known to nudge the envelope, but the series is not particularly groundbreaking, as an examination of my subscriber count will demonstrate. Thanks for the question, Tree. Mike Ciccone asks, in what manner and proportion is the content of Harry Potter in HP Source? Do they snip off a finger each time and magically heal him for the next batch in an unending Promethean torture? Oh, Mike, you've fallen into their fruity sauce trap like so many before you. Don't worry, I've got you. There is in fact no trace of Harry Potter in the source. This is misinformation spread by their PR department. The disturbing truth is that each batch contains 1 drop of the juice of early 20th century author of the macabre, H.P. Lovecraft. After his death in 1937, he was wrung out and his extract was bottled and preserved. This liquid is expected to run out in 2037. Thanks, Mike. Andrew asks, how do you feel about Mattel giving the new Demo Man a Skeletor head? Seems a bit cheeky at your expense. Well, I'm happy to be included with the figure, to be honest, as the addition of Skeletor is never the wrong choice. I am, however, unlikely to see an example in person, as the character falls outside of Monkeyboy's nostalgia net. How do you feel about it? Andrew also wonders if I should end the show with the Eternian national anthem. Well, it's not the worst idea in the universe, but it is the worst idea in the universe. But thanks for the questions, Andrew. Jojo writes, if a man eats his own body weight in biscuits, that would make him half man, half biscuit.
That's a band, Skeletor.
I know, Whiplash. Shut up. Jojo asks how many biscuits it would take for me to become half Skeletor, half biscuit, and what type of biscuits I would choose. Well, you sausage, it would obviously require the same amount of biscuits, equivalent to my body weight, of course. You've already worked that formula out once. What's the matter with you? And as for type of biscuits, that is a good question. And I would choose in equal parts chocolate digestives, custard creams, bourbon creams.
Skeletor,
What, Spirit of Whiplash?
I think you're about to list all the different types of biscuits.
No, I'm not. I was done. Get out of my sight. Thanks, Jojo, for your biscuit-based inquiry. Stephen Gray has also confused himself with a question about snacks. He asks if the average bag of KP peanuts contains more peas or nuts. Well, sir, it is nuts, as are you. However, I do have a treat for you which will change your life. A close friend of the channel has pointed out that if you split a peanut in half, one of those halves is very likely to contain a very small representation of a rabbit. I will give you all a moment to let that sink in. Thanks, Stephen. Paul Wilson is wondering where I like to go on holiday and whether I have any holiday snaps to show. Well, Paul, I like to go to all sorts of places. I'm a real culture vulture. So far, my favourite destinations have been New Zealand, Badger in Alaska, and the majority of the Zeta Reticuli star system, with the exception of Gliese 95, which was a shithole. As for holiday snaps, I have thousands, and I am prepared to show you 4. Here is a photo of me in Paris. I hated it there. Here is a snap of Scareglow and myself building a snowman in Mogadishu. And yes, we did bring our own supply of snow. Here I am building a snowman in Calgary, using some of the local snow provided. And here I am in Turkey, sitting on a beach which is covered in holes for some reason.
Thanks, Paul.
Finally this week, a viewer I will refrain from naming was not impressed with the last episode and has seen fit to tell me about it. They write, "I will never get this time back. I'm going to go swimming in a lake filled with piranhas." Well, sir or madam, this show is not for everybody. To enjoy the series, one really needs an absurd, puerile sense of humour, an appreciation of linguistic nuance, and a certain degree of intelligence. It may be that you are lacking one or more of these entry requirements, but that's okay. We're all different, and there are no hard feelings. Your assertion that you will now expose yourself to piranha attack suggests that you have successfully identified the root cause of the problem and are taking steps to address it. And I'm sure everyone thinks your idea is brilliant. The fact that you would watch a whopping 8.5 minutes of a show you didn't like, prompting your plans to eradicate yourself with carnivorous fish, is a sad and tragic state of affairs. We at SkeleTalk Productions do our very best to bring you enjoyable, entertaining content, and it is not our intention to bore you towards piranha death. We're just trying to make you laugh. But thanks for getting in touch. Your negative comment actually encouraged the YouTube algorithm to promote the video, and I gained hundreds of extra views overnight. Everyone else, please do not crucify this person in the comments section. They are perfectly entitled to have shared their opinion, however unhelpful it may have been. Okay, that's the end of another fully stuffed episode. What do you think about the slightly longer shows? Would you prefer me to split the questions over 2 weeks? Let me know your thoughts. If you are enjoying the series, please take a second to leave a thumbs up on the video, and do share the channel on your socials, and don't keep it to yourself. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're doing it wrong. Remember to hit the bell for notifications, and don't forget to leave me a comment or an absurd question for next week. Thanks for watching, and until next time, get out of my sight before I beat you.